Shirley Poe, who I've worked with over the years, is one of many people, and she's right. People literally come out of the SHU, the secured housing unit, where they've been treated like animals for their lives. They're not allowed out of the cell without chains, and 2 guards sitting there, with batons looking at them every single time they come in and out of that cell. Their term's up. Suddenly, they're citizens again, and they're released with $200. And guess what? They fail. Why shouldn't they fail? What have we done for them? So one of the things we're focusing on is in the prison, basic stuff. But let's talk about what we're talking about here, the people who are going to get out, reentry services. The state has made some small steps, but has a long way to go. What are the things we need to do? One, we don't apply for benefits, veterans benefits, Social Security benefits, for people in prison. Other states do. This is not that hard, okay? People are eligible for benefits. My work focuses on the people who have the least chance of success. People with serious mental illness, diagnosed. What are we trying to get for them? Some things we've succeeded. We have managed, after years and years, to manage to get the guy a prescription for medication. This was a battle. And 30-day supply, and an appointment with a parole outpatient clinic, with a psychiatrist to renew that medication. This has taken years and years, okay? But we still can't get them, that same person, we can't get them to start their benefits application while they're in prison. So when they get out, they might get on SSI. So what are the chances of succeeding without money, without a place to live, without job training? I'm also involved in this case called Valdivia, which has been designed to reform the parole revocation process, provide attorneys for people in parole revocation, make sure the parole revocation is fair. And one of the things that we were most excited about in this process, on the first day that Governor Schwarzenegger took office, he signed a federal court order in Valdivia that agreed not only to provide the attorneys for 100% of the men and women facing parole revocation, but also to provide alternatives to incarceration, remedial sanctions. Instead of putting people back in prison for technical parole violation, we would start looking at drug treatment programs, community-based lock programs, the kind of services that people in this room provide as an alternative to incarceration. I think Mr. Leno talked about, the Valdivia settlement talks about a reduction in the prison population. At that point, they were talking about closing prisons. Closing prisons. They were identified a series of prisons that were going to be closed. They actually shut down the Correctional Officer Academy. They shut it down. They stopped hiring guards and training guards. This all happened since Schwarzenegger was elected, okay? Because they had this plan. And if they had done that plan, the population would have been reduced, and we would be at a different level. It is correct that a victims' rights group ran ads, the administration chickened out, and the program was ended. So that's where we are now. We have court orders to try to put these programs back in place, and they are slowly being put back in place. But as you know how hard it is to set up a program and get people to believe in it, and to convince parole agents and hearing officers that it's okay to not send the guy back to prison, but to put him in this alternative, give him another chance. When we pull the rug out from under these men and women, it's going to be very hard to put it back. So right now we're trying to get people to say it's okay not to slam this guy back into prison each time he doesn't show up for an appointment. It's okay to give him another chance. It's okay to let him stay in the community. We have a long way to go. I agree with Barry that this is a and everyone else here, this is a public safety issue. We don't really gain any public safety when we put someone back in prison for a technical parole violation. Last year, 50,000 of the new admits in the prison system were for parole violations with a sentence of 3.5 months or less. 50,000. I'm going to tell you a story of one of them, then I'll shut up. But a man named Mr. Williams, he's a homeless man. He went to prison originally for stealing a bottle of soda from a grocery store. 2 years, okay? He paroled 3 times in 2005. 3 times. Not to San Francisco, and that's one of the reasons this horrible story happened. Each time, he's a severely mentally ill man. The system knew he was mentally ill. He would be released with no planning, no benefits. He would get to his county of residence. He'd get in trouble within a day or two. They'd call the parole agent, and they'd bring him back. Give him a little services and reception, let him out again, same thing would happen. The third time, he came into a system that is getting so overcrowded that when he came in, they kind of got lost. He was mentally ill, and he didn't get the right services. He was locked in a cell that was not a healthcare cell, and this is happening more and more. Our prisons are really, really horrible right now. I mean, they're the worst they can be. People are being housed in things that aren't cells. They're being housed in cages without bathrooms. The guards are doing triple overtime, and everyone is stressed out of their mind. And this man was kind of lost and was put in a cell that he shouldn't have been in. And someone saw that he was suicidal. They said, put him on suicide watch, but he wasn't in a mental health facility. Anyway, he died during that night. No one really knows whether it was a suicide or what, but he was dead. And the last parole violation, you know why they put him into prison? He didn't do anything wrong. They said, we're putting him into prison for mental health care. We can't find any services in the community. That's what it says on his parole violation. So I charge, and it wasn't the parole agent's fault, and it wasn't the prison system's fault. I think it's all of our fault as a society. What are we supposed to do with these people who are the most vulnerable? What are we doing when we run a great program? Do we really accept the mentally ill in that program? A lot of the drug treatment programs don't accept people who are mentally ill. What are we doing for that population? That's the population that has the highest recidivism rate. They fail more than anyone else. In prison, they cost not $35,000, they cost close to $100,000 to take care of a mentally ill person in prison. Let's say we took $10,000 or $20,000 and gave it to some of you guys. Could you develop a program for house these people, make sure they got their medications, help them get their benefits? If we did that, we've identified 20% of the population in the California prison system today that have serious mental illness. Same 20% are on parole. Those people can stay out of prison if there were programs in the community to help them. I think parole is looking for those programs, and if they don't find them, they have no other choice but to bring those people back. So we need great ideas, and we need people that are willing to take care of this very difficult population. Thank you.